All right, so let's get started by going to the Chrome Web Store. Type in Evernote Web and come over and grab the Evernote Web app and two extensions while you're at it, Evernote Web Clipper and Clearly. After that, go ahead and pull up your apps and go ahead and click on your Evernote Web app and it will prompt you to create an account. I already have one, so we'll go to it. Let's look at how Evernote decides to divide up your page. There are three categories. The far left category I like to think as your table of contents. So Evernote gives you two defaults. It creates a category called All Notes, which I have highlighted right here, in which every single note you take or article you clip from the web will be right here, even if you've put it in another notebook. It also gives you a default notebook. And so it's a nice catch-all in case you aren't sure where something should be put, you can put it there. So to understand the other two sections here are very easy. Whatever is highlighted to the left will show up to the right. So for instance, I have my All Notes highlighted and you'll see up here, All Notes is what I'm looking at. And as I told you, every single note I've taken or article from the web is in this section. Likewise, I have this note highlighted, so in my notes section, that is what's highlighted. Cooking classes in Naples, Italy. The title here, Cooking classes in Naples, Italy. And here's the article. So let's get started and create a notebook. So come back over to my table of contents, and next to the word notebook, I'm going to click on that downward arrow. Click on New Notebook, and I'm going to call it Test Notebook. We're going to click Save, and now, arranged in alpha order, is my test notebook. I'm going to highlight that now, and you'll see my other columns change. Now I see test notebook, and I would get a listing of all the notes that I had, if I had any in there, and then whatever I had highlighted, I would show here. I have no notes there, so let's make a new note by clicking on New Note. And let's call this Test Note. I can now add anything I want here. Just like a Word program, I've got all of my toolbar here. And when I'm done, I can either click Done, or I like to have auto save on because then it does automatically save and it's all cloud-based. Let's go ahead for this purpose and save. Now you'll see that in my test notebook, which is highlighted here, so it shows up to the right, my test note is here. And that's there. If I want to edit my note, easily done. I click the little pencil, it opens it up, and now I can add more. Again, I'm going to finish that and save it. This note I can send to people by clicking on the right arrow here. I can send it via Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, email, or I can create a link. Now, one of the nice things about Evernote, going back over to my table of contents, is the ability to create stacking notebooks. For instance, I have a notebook that I have named Interdisciplinary Studies, which is a course I teach, and under that I have two notebooks in it so far, Colonialism Unit and Startup Necessities. I can move my test notebook now into there by a simple drag and drop. I now have three notebooks inside, and you can see the icon, it shows that they are stacked. So again, whatever I click on the Colonialism Unit, now shows up to the right, and whatever note I have now shows up to the right. And again, I'm clicked on Final Discussion Questions, and that's what's here. I can edit that simply by putting on the pencil, and I can go in and I can add. Okay, so now let's talk about how to get information from the internet into Evernote. We got an extension, and that is this web clipper. So we'll go ahead and we'll go to an article on the internet, and let's go ahead and grab our web clipper. Our web clipper will find it. It will allow us to select what notebook we want it to go to, and I do want it to go to the Colonialism Unit. I can add tags, which might be helpful for searching later. So I'll do Leopold's ghost. So if I ever need to search, I can find it easier. And now I click Save Article. It's telling me it was clipping, and now it shows that it was clipped. So let's go back to our Evernote notebook, and we will go into our colonialism unit, which is where we are, and let's go ahead and refresh our screen. And you'll see the article I just took off the internet shows up here. I can then, if I'd like, I can click, because let's pretend that this is a student doing research. I can now click on my arrow, and I could come in here, and I don't have the ability to highlight, but I can highlight like this, and I could go ahead and I could come over here and I could change my font color, and I could bold it, and now I can see that these are passages that I'm going to want to come back to and include in my paper in some way, shape, or form. And again, instead of printing things out and using a highlighter, I've done this. We're going to go ahead and save that now. Again, in your notes, it also keeps a track of all your websites. So I could click on this and go right back to the website itself, not just what I've taken from the internet. So now going back to the notebooks, I want to talk for a few minutes about how I would share a notebook with another student if we were working together, or my teacher perhaps. I come back over here and I'm on the colonialism unit notebook, and you'll notice I have an arrow to the right of it. If I click that, I can come down here and I have share this notebook. I will then have a chance to come, and just like you would share a Google Doc, I can send this entire notebook to anybody. They can't edit it, but they can pull anything off that they want, and they can view anything they want. So now let's go back and let's talk about our notes again. Let's go back to another internet site. Okay. So we all know that the kids will pull something like this off, and if they were printing, it would tend to print all sorts of things, but typically not the articles it wants because there's so many graphics, etc. The extension that you got at the beginning clearly is perfect for this. So if you will come to your toolbar and you will click clearly, it's going to put an overlay on it. And so what it does is take care of all those distracting pictures and ads and everything, and give you nothing but the article itself. Another nice thing that clearly does for us is it does allow you to highlight. So you can actually take the highlighter tool there, and you could come over here and you could highlight anything that you wanted. It wants me to sign in, so bear with me. Okay, so again, I can, or a student could highlight anything he or she wanted to in this, and it works perfectly. When you're done with that, we can clip it to Evernote, and it already clipped itself, and it put itself in my Italy notebook. Evernote, again, is cloud-based. It's also smart-based, and so it puts it where it thinks it should go. So let's go back to our Evernote notebooks, and let's go down to my Italy notebook, which is where it said it put it in, and it's automatically in there. If this note did not belong in my Italy notebook, I could take it out and I could move it to any other notebook that I wanted. I would simply take it over, and let's go ahead and put it in my default notebook, the Baldwin notebook. I would just drag and drop, and now I'm highlighted on the left to Baldwin's notebook that shows up right here. Our latest note was right here, and it shows up here, and the highlighter's all there. I can now edit it here, and I could go in, and let's say you want to teach them paraphrasing. You could tell them right underneath their highlights to give some bold. We'll stay in blue. This is where they could add their paraphrase. And they could make this any color that they wanted so that they could keep that straight. And there you go. And again, click done. And that, in a nutshell, is how you use Evernote. Hope this helps.